And I was like, oh, Game of Thrones. And he went, oh.
It's funny.
He looks different without blonde hair.
I'm sure not too many people can pull off the bleach blonde. I don't know that he actually pulled it off. It probably just made him creepier looking.
Yeah, I think that kind of was the thing.
Okay. Well, since I already hit record, we can probably go ahead and start the actual
there
show.
you go. I'll let you do the intro.
I mean, what we were talking about was entertainment related.
That's very
so
true.
It counts.
There you are.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Hello and welcome to the Lobbycast. This is episode 346, and today is October 8th.
As we established earlier, not the 10th, contrary
not
to
the
belief
10th.
of others.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Excellent.
Just hanging out.
I'm stalling off PT as long as I can, so I'm grateful for that.
Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and jump right into the news. I don't think we'll have a super long show today, but yeah, let's go ahead and get to it.
A few things happening here and
Stuff
there.
is happening.
Stuff. A few things. Stuff and junk.
Stuff and junk.
All right. You or me?
You go first.
Okay. None of this is earth-shattering, but it's stuff that made me go, huh, that's cool. So there you are. Xbox. I'm sorry, I'll indulge in some caffeine while we're shooting, but X-Files preview finally dropped. Oh, yes. Actually, I have that note in my phone if you want to look at it. Oh, yes.
Oh, no, that camera.
Oh, yes. I'll have Jeff back me up.
Yep.
It looks cool. Looks very cool. And we're seeing not only, and we've discussed how they got David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson back. I think it's time for Jeff to make the noise over
man.
Gillian Anderson. There you go.
This is awesome.
And it looks, like they're back in business and everything. And but they also got some other familiar faces back, and I was happy to see that. We've got Mitch Pileggi as their boss, Skinner. He's making a return appearance, and I was very excited. At the very end of the clip, you don't even see his face. You just see a hand with a cigarette come into frame, and you hear the smoking man say, "We have a problem." And I went,
And it is the actor.
The actor, yes. It is our favorite man with a little bit of a nicotine habit back on the scene to make things difficult. Why did you think that?
Smashed by an asteroid or something. I don't remember.
I don't remember that happening, but
there was a demise for the smoking man.
There probably was. I stopped watching. As much as I love the X-Files, I kind of had to walk away towards that last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
I had to sit down with it and say, but have the opposite of that talk. It's not you, it's me. I had to say it's not me, it's you, and just walk away from the situation. So I don't know anything that happened the last couple of seasons. Maybe they did drop a meteor on his head.
I'm pretty sure, but I mean, obviously, there's going to be an explanation for that.
I'm sure there is. So, but I was excited to see him. So check that out if you haven't. It's out there in the interwebs. You can find it. Let's see. The Xbox One updated to the new Xbox One experience last night.
You guys had opted in.
Yes.
So I got mine the day before.
Oh, okay. And it's so far seems to be working well. I like this system a little better than the last one. How do you feel about it?
No, I'm fine with it. I'm not 100% sure where to find everything just yet.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm not saying I've mastered it.
But once you know where things are, it is very fast to navigate through them.
Very much so.
The system is definitely faster. A lot of times they'll say, like, "Oh, we're upgrading the dashboard, and it's going to be, so many percent faster." It kind of feels so many percent faster.
It does. So far, no complaints.
No complaints.
That as another thing that occurred apparently. Another thing that got my attention was David Bowie, whom we have not had any new music from since 2013, did, strangely enough, released a new song. It is the theme for a new TV show called The Last Panthers. And
not aware of the show.
I was not either, and I became aware of the show because I saw a link saying, see David Bowie's new song, and it's the theme song, and it's It's a theme song for a TV show that I haven't heard of, and it's lovely and haunting and strange, and it's David Bowie. So I highly recommend you listen to it. It's good stuff. And
there was something the other day, and I don't remember which show it was, but there's a really cool piece of music at the beginning of it. Like, I know I've heard this artist before, and I think it's Massive Attack.
Okay, yeah.
Because they
what
also
show is
did
this?
the theme song. I have no idea.
Okay.
They also did the theme song for Luther,
Mm-hmm.
and probably going to have to actually buy some of their music, because every time I hear their music, then I really like it.
You are pleased.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm gonna have to actually buy some.
As you should. Yeah. As you should. Let's see. We have, if you're a fan of Hammer, the classic Hammer horror movies, like yours truly is, they released 4 new kind of upgraded and onto Blu-ray. And the titles that you get, it's a package, I guess. And the titles that you get are The Mummy, the 1959 version, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, and Taste the Blood of Dracula. All for only $50, which breaks down to about $12 a movie with all the extras and looking all pretty and nice. And doesn't get much better than that, especially around Halloween. So there you go. Fun fact, when they first shot Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, the movies were all getting G ratings. By the time they rolled around to Taste the Blood of Dracula, good solid R ratings for those movies. They had turned the dial up to 11 by 60 standards, that much between those films.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We can probably rest that on Christopher Lee's mantle, who had very definite ideas about how that character should be played.
Yeah. So. Yeah. There's something that reminds me of something else. Batman vs Superman has already received its rating. It's a PG-13.
Okay.
But that means that the movie's finished, and it doesn't come out until like between spring and summer of next year. The cat is heaving.
Yes, she is. There she goes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
The joys of pet ownership happening in the background.
At
She's staying off the carpet for now. If I sprint off camera all of a sudden here in about 2 seconds, you'll know why.
You'll know why. The cat was doing the dance. I've seen a YouTube video with that different cats heaving like that set to music.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've actually seen one heave so hard it sent itself backward on a polished wooden floor. So that's impressive. Oh, monkey.
Stay away from the carpet.
Is she going to the carpet? Where is she going?
She's sitting on the carpet, but she's aimed towards the hardwood.
I don't care where she's aimed if she's sitting on the carpet.
She's attending
to that. Just another note about the new Xbox One experience. It was being released to all preview members, not just for those who opted in. I think that was more early adopters. And then the button mapping, which previously was going to be exclusive to the that looks like so much fun. Exclusive to the Elite controller is also going to be available for regular controllers. So if you want to reset how your controller is laid out, you can remap that through software on the system. So that's pretty awesome.
Good.
Good. Thanks. You're back.
All right.
Go ahead and move on to some other news.
There have been several movies that have gotten release dates. It looks like Ant-Man 2, this is for Marvel movies. Ant-Man 2 is going to be released in July of 2018. And we also have Black Panther.
Since Ant-Man, she's back. Since Ant-Man 2 got announced for 7/18, Black Panther actually got moved up to February of that year.
Uh-huh.
And then Captain Marvel is going to be in March of 2019. And right along in there, and I'm very excited about this because it's actually one of my favorite Pixar movies is Incredibles 2 is going to be June of 2019. Still a ways off, obviously, but
we have a date, which
but
is
we have
more
a
than we've had the last few
date,
years.
so they are working on it. Yeah. So the thing about Batman versus Superman being finished is like it doesn't come out until next year sometime, and
If
that
they
just kind of
finished
sucks.
is different from having the footage they know they're going to use in the can. That doesn't necessarily mean it's
No.
finished.
It's got a
They
rating.
have said, well, that's what I'm
They
saying.
can't change anything after the movie's gotten its rating. It is
It is.
finalized. Post production is done.
Wow. Okay.
The complete finished product is set.
Is in the can, as they say.
Yeah,
So,
it is done.
okay.
It's ready to release,
Mm.
but they're not releasing it.
Hmm.
So I don't know what's going on with that.
There might be certain things they don't want to compete with, or
Maybe I don't
know.
know.
I that's about all I have.
There's definitely something going on because yeah, it's done.
Okay.
So, and some news for Twin Peaks fans. Not necessarily good news. The original Sheriff Harry S. Truman has decided not to reprise his role, and so Robert Forster is going to step in and play that part. And Robert Forster, he's pretty awesome. He most recently he played the guy who facilitates new identities on Breaking Bad.
Okay.
He was in that for a while, and then he also played the patriarch of the Petrelli family in the original Run of Heroes.
Okay. And I'll have to look this up, guys. You might want to fact check me, but I think this is the case. I'm glad Robert Forster is who they picked to play Harry S. Truman if we couldn't have our original guy, because he was originally supposed to play Harry S. Truman and then dropped out. Is my understanding. So that's why they went back to him, aside from the fact that he's an awesome actor.
Hey, do
you still want this role 20 years later? Yeah, great. So that's kind of what happened. Is they went back to their original pick. Nice. So I loved the gentleman that played Harry S. Truman, but it'll be interesting to see what they saw in him originally.
Yeah. Another actor that I think would fit in really well, and what I understand of that setting, because I never watched Twin Peaks, would be Michael Parks.
Michael Parks.
He was in both Tusk and Red State.
Okay.
You would recognize him.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
For sure. And then another thing, and I don't know if it's a recasting or an additional casting, but Melanie Liburd, she's a British actress, has been cast as a Red Priestess in Game of Thrones. And I don't know if it's to replace the existing Red Priestess, who I think is awesome, or if it's going to be an additional Red Priestess.
I don't know. Yeah. Another thing I need to look up as far as casting choices for Twin Peaks is I want to know if they're bringing back a character by the name of Albert, who was played by Miguel Ferrer the first time through. He was a strange, cantankerous human being that popped up periodically, and he was a forensic expert that was called in by Kyle MacLachlan's character periodically, and was definitely made things more interesting whenever he was around. So I hope they bring him back, but I haven't really heard anything about that. We'll see.
Right. And we know that the Wild Lady's not going to be back.
She passed away recently. Yes, very recently.
Last week.
Yeah, in the last week or so, I believe.
As I understand it, because again, haven't watched Twin Peaks. She was in a very pivotal scene right before they reveal the killer.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks.
Yes. In a way, you get the impression she knows. She kind of speaks in riddles and pops up at strange places and doesn't seem to talk a lot of sense. But she portrayed. You get the idea that she might have had better idea of what was going on than most people in town did somehow.
Yeah.
And was sort of a prophet of sorts, even, but you had to be able to interpret what she was saying, and most people could not. So I don't know if they're going to find another way to bring that kind of foreshadowing in with it, or if they're going to have somebody else play it. I just don't know. I mean, another character that I'm curious to see what they do with it is the character that was played by Jack Nance. With his, because he was such a trademark part of that series. So many of the lines that you heard quoted later on, she's dead, wrapped in plastic, or about the fishes and the percolator. So many of those things came from him. He was a regular on David Lynch. If you look at David Lynch movies, the guy. He was always there. Wild at Heart. He was the title character in Eraserhead. He'd been with David Lynch from the beginning, and died under unusual circumstances a few years ago. And so we know he won't be back too, but I'm again curious if we're going to have that character in some capacity.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see what they do.
Very cool. Did you have any other news?
The one other thing, and this kind of ties in with some other news I had mentioned last week, or week before last, I believe. Was with the it's been kind of the 40th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show releasing into theaters, and just yesterday, I believe, the news hit the internet that 5 of the original cast members from the movie came together for a little bit of a reunion photo shoot. They sat down with Entertainment Weekly magazine and Good Morning America and did interviews. And so we've got Patricia Quinn, who was Magenta, Meatloaf, who was Eddie, got Barry Bostwick, who was Brad Majors, Susan Sarandon, who was Janet Weiss, and the one, the only Tim Curry, who of course was Dr. Frankenfurter, and the main reason that story exists,
Right.
And has survived, I think. And it's been great. It was great seeing them. I was watching one of these interviews when he walked in, actually. And it's a lot of fun seeing them talk about how things have gone. And
what anniversary is it?
40th. Which makes it, they were saying it makes it the longest running film in cinema history, period.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So good for them.
Yeah, very cool. All right, I think we're ready for the weekly
Whatchas.
Indeed.
Erin, what you listening to?
Let's see. As soon as I pull it back up, a lot of the usual, some Shuffle All, some Crack.com, Lieutenant Kenda's podcast on investigation discovery. Already mentioned David Bowie's little theme song, which I've listened to several times. The Darkness, since I'm not sure if I'll be able to hit their concert here or in Chicago. We'll see.
Bummer.
Yeah, but that's okay. I've been to one. So, and I'm sure there will be others. So I'm trying to be optimistic. I think the main thing that my new find this week, because Jimmy Fallon told me to listen to it, so I did, was Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats, and their song, apparently, new song and album, SOB, that song and all. I believe that's also the album title and also the other accompanying songs. Really good stuff. If you haven't listened to it, do what Jimmy Fallon told us all to do and get on the internet and check it out.
Cool.
A lot of fun.
Oh, something Harry Potter related. Their theme resort in England.
Okay.
I think it's in London, but I'm not sure exactly. It could be in one of the little outlying areas. You will be able to eat Thanksgiving dinner in the main hall.
Wow, that's fantastic.
If you want to.
Nice. Good for them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Makes the Harry Potter nerd in me very happy.
Good for you.
How about you, sir? What have you been listening to?
Mostly just Shuffle All this week. I have listened to a few podcasts, not a surprise. Fat Man on Batman, and that's Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. And of course, it started out as very Batman focused, but now it's mostly just general entertainment news.
Mhm.
And then they talk about Batman stuff when they can, or when there's stuff to talk about.
Yeah. They evolve.
Right, and they do talk a lot about Marvel stuff too. I mean, they're both hardcore into Daredevil. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, then. That's your listening.
Hollywood Babylon, Gamertag Radio. Listen to it.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yep. What you watching, Aaron?
Again, a little bit of the quick usual, face off Lieutenant Kenda, Buffy, Angel. Yay! My new, I guess my two new things this week were a movie, and I meant to talk about this when Brick was here, but that jerk hasn't showed up in weeks, so I'll just go ahead and say it.
Right.
Because I know that Brick would probably appreciate this more than anybody else, but I stumbled because of my dentist, who is also a rabid Buffy fan, and she about came out of her skin when I told her I'd started watching it. Told me to watch a movie called Repo, a Genetic Opera, a musical, a whacked out musical starring.
Like the name.
Yeah, see, you might not even hate this movie too much. But I thought it was very entertaining, starring Anthony Stewart Head from Buffy. And so I was quite entertained with that. And Brick was also happy when I told him via text that I'd watched it. So good stuff.
Okay.
I also found a documentary called Dear Mr. Watterson. It's about Bill Watterson, who is the author and artist behind Calvin and Hobbes.
Excellent.
And he does not do a lot of public stuff. He's never licensed any of his creations. He tends to stay out of the public eye. So he didn't really show up in the podcast, or not in the podcast, in the documentary. It's about fans and other comic, writers and artists and such that were influenced by Calvin and Hobbes, and it's a very lovingly done tribute to a man that means a lot to them.
Gotcha.
If you're wondering what Geoff is looking at, my cat has a considerable plastic habit, and she found some plastic on the floor.
I'm actually looking at something else.
What are you looking at?
All right. Well, on the screen, it looks like there are lights on my laptop on the back where the lettering is, and it's really just a reflection of whenever the volume.
Oh,
is a certain
yeah.
level,
The lights
then
reflect.
The light reflects off the lettering on my laptop.
The
But it took me a second to figure out.
The shiny lights distracted you a little bit.
Yeah.
It
Lights
happens.
where there are no lights. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
So listening to your cat play on the plastic and watching lights where there should not be
I
lights.
see.
So.
Good to know you're tuned into what we're doing, man.
Oh, I'm listening also. I can multitask. Yeah, for sure.
Good deal.
Goes back to my days whenever I would study for school and write a paper while having music and the television on. So
making sure you kind of keep yourself on your toes, or is that a preferable way of being for you?
No, sometimes it helps me to focus, to have like a reason to need to focus.
Ah, okay.
Right.
So you focus on your own less efficiently,
Yeah.
unless you have something that you actually have to push away.
Right. Yeah. If I only have one thing going, it's hard for me to not be thinking about other things. I get mentally distracted if I don't have distractions, like actual distractions.
That is so strange.
I have a noisy.
For you?
My brain is very noisy, so I actually kind of need outside chaos to kind of focus.
To balance you out.
Yeah.
You have lots of noise to balance out the noise in my head. Yeah.
At least you know what you need.
That's true.
That's good. And how about you, sir? What are you watching?
Watching a few things. I'm still watching the blind auditions for The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
Those are almost over. I watched about halfway through the last one, actually. So
that's really the only part you like about that
it's
show.
the only part I like.
If I recall.
And well, I'm obviously Gwen Stefani, because dang. There aren't too many people who don't age out there, and she is definitely one of them.
I'm wondering if she's a vampire at this point, because
she may be a vampire.
You take what it looks like now, and then look back when we first discovered her, and no doubt in the 90s, and you can't really tell the difference.
No, not really. I mean, she's aged even less than Patrick Stewart has.
And Patrick Stewart is probably also a vampire.
Right. I mean, because you go all the way back to Excalibur with Patrick Stewart, and he looks the same as he does now.
Patrick Stewart as we have him now for the most part. A little weird.
Very strange.
Yes.
Very strange.
But good for him.
Yeah. Well, you look to compare and contrast. You look at Helen Mirren, who's still a beautiful woman, but you can tell that she's
Yeah, time has
much
gone
older
by, sure.
than she has, and you can barely tell that Patrick Stewart is aged. He looks like he's aged about half of as much as Helen Mirren.
Which again,
Vampire.
just saying.
Because I'm sure he looked different as a young man, but he got to a certain point in his age and just stopped. So
Just said, I don't think I'm going to do this.
that's when he
anymore."
was turned.
Yeah, apparently.
You know when
That's
Patrick
when it
Stewart was
happens.
turned.
And good for
Yeah,
them.
and Gwen Stefani was apparently turned when she was like 22 or 23.
Yeah, around early 20s is when it
Yeah.
happened for her.
So
Good for them.
good for them.
Hollywood vampires get to people at different times in their life.
Yeah, that's true. There are a bunch of new shows back. The fall television season has started in earnest.
It's swung into gear.
Hawaii Five-0 is back, and it's still just as bubblegummy as ever.
Fair enough.
It just you watch it for like the cameos and the silly jokes, and
I will take your word for it since I don't watch it.
yeah, you shouldn't. I mean, it's not one of those that I recommend. It's just it's
good mindless entertainment.
yeah, it's something I can put on whenever
you need to write a paper.
whenever I really don't care if the television's on.
Got it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those kind of things. Homeland's back, which is great.
American Horror Story. We were talking about that.
Yeah,
That
I
is
haven't
back
watched the
on
new
as of
episode
last
yet.
night. Neither have
I think about it now. I was like, well, that is so stupid. Why would I watch something like Hawaii Five-0 whenever American Horror Story is back? Idiot. Anyway,
idiot. It's okay. We can put that on our what we watched for next week and
Right.
talk about it.
Big Bang Theory. Watched an episode with Kristen. Fear of the Walking Dead.
Okay.
And it's finale. I just didn't. I mean, it was okay. I just kept expecting something to happen, and nothing really happened. And it's done. And I was expecting to get a little bit more about the actual origin of the virus, but no. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It could be okay.
Your enthusiasm is amazing. I'd heard
It's more of an appetizer for the series proper, which starts, I believe, this Sunday.
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah, it's this Sunday.
I don't remember the date.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Meh.
See what happens.
Yeah. Last Man on Earth, which I continue to enjoy. Pretty fun. There was a Will Ferrell cameo in the last one.
Oh, nice.
Not playing himself, but actually
Yeah.
like playing a character, and I don't know what's going to happen to it because he was just in the last 30, 45 seconds of the episode.
It's a little teaser.
Yeah, and he may be dead. Actually, he may have died in the last 30 to 45 seconds of this episode. The Blacklist is back. I watched the first episode. I can safely drop that show again. I think I dropped it very early in season 2. This is the beginning of season 3. I didn't go and catch up in between. I probably won't watch any more of it. But there's so much that is returned, and I'm looking forward to that. I really want to get back and watch the second season of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. And obviously American Horror Story.
Yes.
That shows up.
Because, well, and Will and I were laughing because hopefully we're really excited for this season, which is funny because about halfway through last season, apparently at some point we just went, yeah, and walked away. And I can tell you when it happened. It was right after Twisty the Clown died.
Yeah, last season was probably its weakest season.
Yeah.
Which is too bad.
But it happens. I mean, especially with the kind of, I think every TV show has an ebb and flow, and they've been consistently good. And even American Horror Story at is better than most other TV shows
Yeah.
at good. So
Yeah.
good for them. I
Good for
can't throw a whole lot of stones, honestly. It's
Yeah.
just that I don't know. For some reason, for the first time, Will and I just kind of lost interest and walked away from it. And at some point, maybe when we start watching this one, we'll say, okay, we need to find out what happened. We're curious again. And
Sure. And that's the thing. It's like you don't have to catch up on American Horror Story. It's a new story every season.
So you're fine.
So you're fine.
Mhm.
You're fine. And I also watched A Million Ways to Die in the West again. When we were
Was
up.
it better the second time?
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
It was.
Okay. I was genuinely
It wa-
curious when you said that.
No, and that's what I was getting to. Is it's definitely better the second time around. I really liked it. So, yeah, it's funnier the second time around.
It would almost have to be because
Yeah.
it had funny
That's how I
moments.
felt about
the
Anchorman. The first
time.
time I watched Anchorman, I was like,
Eh.
God, that was not great.
Yeah.
It was really not great. But the second time, it's a quotable movie.
Yeah,
There are
it's
lots
true.
of funny bits. I'm still not a big fan of him monologuing throughout the movie, but it was funny.
Okay, maybe it's because
And-
our standards have already been lowered. That's why it gets funnier.
Shush. Shush. It's Wells Fargo calling me. I don't know why they would be calling me.
Not my phone, man.
Yeah.
Maybe they just wanted to say hi.
Still, I think one of the best lines in the movie is "People die at the fair."
The fair, exactly. That was for me one of the only redeeming moments of that whole movie for me was people die at the fair. Because I just remember watching it the first time through, and it had funny moments, but for the most part, it felt like a vanity project to me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily have to mean something is bad. A vanity project can turn out very well, but it felt like a not terribly well executed vanity project.
Yeah,
It was Seth MacFarlane saying, I need an excuse to make out with Charlize Theron. And you could tell she was trying, but she just didn't look like she knew what she was doing in half of the scenes. In fact, she looked more comfortable to me in the scenes where it was more dramatic moments where she has to be stressed around Liam Neeson.
Right. Right, but she is more of a dramatic actress.
Yeah, I think that's maybe more her thing.
It's a lot easier for a comedian, a comic actor to take on drama than it is the other way around, because comedy is like, it is all about timing. And once you have that kind of timing, you can play any scene.
Well, and there's just such different things. As somebody that used to do theater back in the day, I think any actor, no matter whether they're doing college stuff, local theater, bigger theater, or anything else, will probably tell you that comedy's hard, drama's easier, and that's just kind of a fact.
Yeah.
And getting back to some of the similar comment that I just made, Charlize Theron on a bad day is still better than some people on a good day.
And she can really do anything.
Yeah, but she still looked uncomfortable to me in some scenes, like she wasn't quite sure how to execute it and whatnot. And I mean, and for me, the biggest indicator that movie was just kind of was anytime Neil Patrick Harris isn't that funny, there's something wrong with what you wrote.
Oh,
if Neil Patrick Harris can't funny up what you did, then it just wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have you had a chance to see The Best Time Ever? His new show?
You mentioned that it was such a crazy hodgepodge.
It now has 4 episodes. I've seen the first 3 episodes, but it's very difficult to describe and do it justice. So
I'll
check it out. It's on Hulu.
Yeah,
you can check it out there.
Mm.
Oh, and are you guys Hulu Plus members?
No.
Okay, that's the $8.99 a month option, and they now have an $11.99 a month option that eliminates commercials.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, because I didn't really know what the point of paying the $9 a month was if you still watched commercials.
Yeah.
But now that there's an $11.99 a month option, I was like, okay, I will gladly pay that, because they do have things that you don't have access to on the other services. And TV is so much better without commercials.
True.
It's night and day.
Very true.
Night and day. So I forgot to put that in the news, but that is available now.
And now you have it. There you
and
go.
now you have it. And that truly is the end of my Whatcha Watches. So what you playing, Erin?
That's going to be a brief one. Still messing around with Quiz Up, and this I also wrapped up my latest bout of messing around with Fallout New Vegas. But I also discovered.
Do you get another ending?
Yes.
Under your belt?
Mm-hmm, I did.
So, nice.
Yes. Still fun. Just it's a fun game.
So great.
Despite its glitchiness, it's still a fun game.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know, and it kind of makes me want to punch you a little bit. I was actually thinking about punching him just randomly because I knew he would never know what I was talking about last night when it once again, something that happens to me constantly. I've mentioned the autosave frying a couple times before just out of sheer bitterness. Apparently I want to levy that at you guys as often as I can. Sorry. But another one that I get constantly is when you go into VATS, the VATS glitch. It just, your character kind of freezes and everybody else around you is still free to come up and whoop your ass as much as they can while you're frozen. And it takes a while. It takes a minute or two for it to snap out. And then you have to, if they haven't already killed you, which let's face it, if it's a certain level creature, like I have frozen up, VATS, yay, Death Claws, awesome. I'll just set the controller down and wait for it to reboot because I'm not living through this. All the auto stim packs in the world aren't going to save me in this
situation.
Because
that really sounds awful.
It is. It's frustrating. And I get that one very frequently. And I even thought about you saying, yeah, I never get any of these glitches when my VATS froze up for about the fourth time in an hour. Last night, actually. And it was like, just a little ingracious response.
Oh, that Geoff.
That Geoff and his not glitchiness.
He could be playing it right now and not have this problem.
With not this nonsense.
Yeah, the only thing that I consistently had problems with was Civ Rev.
I remember you mentioned.
But it's just because it's a broken game.
Yeah.
As much as I love it,
it's a broken
and
game.
As much as I'm really, really wanting it to become backwards compatible on the Xbox One, it's
busted.
Yeah, it's busted, and they never fixed it.
No, they just
and
said,
the developers who made it that team doesn't exist anymore. So it's not going to get fixed.
No.
Ever.
No.
I'd like to see a sequel where all they do is just fix it.
That'd be a nice update.
Yeah.
But I also discovered a little indie 2D platformer, Thomas Was Alone, and was messing with that last night.
Wasn't that one on the free program at one point?
Yes, that's why we have it.
Okay. So it's not something that you purchased. You just went back into the library and I was like, oh, I bought that for free, so now I will play it.
Now I will play it, and I had never messed with it before.
I almost did that the other day with a different game.
Nice.
Yeah, I hadn't chosen the game. I was just looking through the list of games that I had.
Yep.
So
that's I don't know how long I'll be playing it. Maybe because it's an extremely simple, and I know it was kind of a little darling of the indie game set for a while, but and it might be just simple enough to where I can't go back to it a whole lot.
Did you ever play Ori and the Blind Forest?
No.
Supposedly that is like Game of the Year worthy.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
So, and it's just a little downloadable title too.
Nice. How about you, sir? What are you playing?
All I played this week, because I don't even think I logged into ESO this week. I think all I got done was a little bit of the Rainbow Six Siege beta, playing Terrorist Hunt, and it was great.
Good.
Yeah, it's very cool to be able to just turn and shoot a hole in the wall, or punch through it or use shape charges, just whatever wall. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. You just start. It's a destructive environment, so you can just make your own doorways and stuff.
And because it's you, I don't even know why I'm asking. Did you find any glitches?
It's not 100% finished, and you can tell that. It's unpolished, and there were some hiccups in the gameplay, but these are the kind of things that you expect in a beta.
Yeah.
So I usually have problems in betas,
Well, that,
but
like I
not
said, that's the point. of
not
beta.
game ending,
Mhm.
just lack of finished code.
Yeah.
I would say.
Which
So,
is expected in
yeah,
a beta situation.
for sure. I was disappointed whenever I went to play it the other day and it was done,
Mm.
and no more beta.
Aw, sad.
Yeah, very sad face because I got in late and then I got in at the end apparently.
Mm.
So I really got to play it for one night.
No, I'm sorry.
Yep. So sad for Jeff.
Yes. At least you know what you're buying when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, and from the things I've been hearing about Battlefront, I may cancel that pre-order. I was so excited about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a lot of fantastic things about the new Battlefront.
Just looks so cool and I want to play it. But I may see if it comes out on Redbox and rent it first.
Say,
And
that
then
might be a renter before you actually lay out the money.
yeah,
for
and
it.
it's not like I have a whole lot of time. It's not like I was like, oh, I'm waiting for this and I'm gonna play it. Like I'll have Redbox or a Fallout 4 soon enough after.
Yeah.
Because Battlefront's this month, I believe, and Fallout's next month.
Next month.
And Rainbow Six Siege is December. So
You've got a few coming up.
I've got a few coming up. I guess that's a show.
I think it is.
We done?
I think
You
so.
all set and ready to go to PT?
This is my excited face. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I should do that.
Let's wrap this up then. Thank you folks for watching and
Yes,
listening and liking and sharing on Facebook and check us out on Spreaker and Google Plus.
All kinds of places on the
And
interwebs
YouTube.
we can be found.
So many places.
True. So we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.